Good evening, everyone. I'm going to wait a couple minutes. I see Jim wrote, Jerry, love you so much, but we'll have to miss tonight's chat. So sorry. Tomorrow we'll be here. Love you too, Jim. Thanks for letting me know I'm back. Couple crazy busy days on my end. Tonight I'm going to talk about how I bought my first house. The good, the bad, and the ugly. Drinking decaf coffee because why not? I have to be up early tomorrow for physical therapy, my usual Wednesday. I'm going to wait maybe 5 minutes. The weather up here is cool in northwestern Wisconsin. The temperatures have been about upper 50s. Very foggy. As a matter of fact, Monday when I had to go to Mayo Bucco early, the inside of my car windshield was all foggy and I had to wipe it from the inside. And I'm leaving, going down to get to where the mailbox is. Remember, I said it's about 6 blocks away from our house, the mailbox is. So I'm going, and who comes in front of me within a matter of inches? Now I'm going slow in the middle of the woods. And little baby deer, well, bigger than my dog for sure, runs in front of me, minus the mama. So I thought, uh-oh, slow up. But I know a lot of the deer are out and about. I see them sleeping on the side of the road. I think that this time slot is not very conducive for a lot of viewers, live viewers. And of course, I leave it open to whomever wants to pop on. But if I don't get any viewers, I'll be frank with you. If I don't get any viewers, I'll tell my story and then turn it off. That way, at least the story will be on there, but I won't waste a lot of the StreamYard time because this is a free version. And they only allow a certain amount of hours within the month for free. And then you have to clear it out and start all over again. So I bought my first house in 1981 was when I started looking for houses. And we had a very old, very wise realtor at the time. She taught me, I guess, all of my realtor habits. And she was a real go-getter at the time, the interest rates were 18.5% interest, but that didn't dissuade me because it's the American dream, right? You buy a house, that's just normal. And saving up, a lot of people weren't buying houses. A lot of my peers, people I used to work with, weren't buying houses because they were all afraid of the interest rates now in comparison to what the rates are right now. Yeah. But I wanted to be wise with my money and get investment property. And that's exactly what I purchased. I purchased a duplex property. Get the money to help pay down on your mortgage, et cetera. But I wanted to bank as much money to put as a downstroke or down payment that I possibly could. So what I did was, was this hard work. In Milwaukee, they used to have paper places where you could do paper drives, not just like the Boy Scouts, not those type. I mean, they did have those, but I thought, common sense myself, well, if they have Boy Scout paper drives and Girl Scouts and for church drives, I might as well do a drive for myself. I don't remember. It's been so many years. I mean, the 80s, early 80s that I bought the first house. I don't remember how much paper was paying, but I just got in my car. Hey, Josie, how you doing? Josephine, how are you? Sorry about that. Joey, hello, Cindy and Joey, how are you? I'm telling the story about when I first bought my first house and went around to different neighborhoods. In Milwaukee, there were, I don't know how do I put this, highbrow, kind of snobby neighborhoods. Lake Drive, North Lake Drive, which was on obviously Lake Michigan, and a lot of mansions there. South 27th Street, which was Layton Boulevard. They had a lot of mansions, but smaller versions in comparison to the Lake Drive ones, the big ones on the Upper East Side of Milwaukee. And then there was Sherman Boulevard. They had a lot of mansions there. And those houses on Sherman were more geared towards the Miller breweries, the brewery families. They all lived there on the north side of Milwaukee. On the east side, it was the big highbrow, hoity-toity rich people. Hey, Michael, how are you? And I got in my car and I started going around to the houses, and I'd be saying, I'd introduce myself at the door first, and I'd say what my name was, and I'm here to pick up any paper that you have. Do you have any accumulated paper? Because back in the day, they had a lot of people that were, I don't know, let's call it what they are, hoarders, and they saved a lot of paper. Now, there were so many houses, senior citizens, when you go into their houses in the basements, papers stacked up to your chest, just tons and tons of papers. So you'd have to get the papers, walk up the stairs, take them to your car, take them to the paper place, turn them in for cash. And bottles were not, I didn't do bottles. I know glass was, it's in Michigan, it's a big buck thing in Michigan, but not so much in Wisconsin. But aluminum and all the metals, they were big dollar ones. So I would do that every weekend on Friday night after work, Saturday and Sunday. I would go to early church on Sunday, and then after Sunday, then do my own little paper drive, if you will. Now, the Sunday ones, I'd have to keep the vehicle. We'd have 2 vehicles at the time, a station wagon. So we would pack up the station wagon on Sunday trips. And then at the time, my then ex-husband would take them into the recycling place for the money on Monday morning. And you'd be surprised, you could get a chunk of change by doing. It's a lot of hard work. It really, really was. But we were wiser about going to certain neighborhoods. We would go to knocking on the door. That's how initially I did it. And I had the type of personality I could meet and greet anybody. The wiser side of it was I was starting to make flyers, and I took advantage of making flyers on the copier at work at the hospital where I was working at the time. And then I would make flyers and distribute it and put the flyers up and say, at the time, the grocery store that was popular was Century. So I put that up in Century and make the little tabs. If you have any paper, please call, and then put my home phone number. So I would schedule the route accordingly to do all of these runs. Holy cow. Like I said, a lot of back-breaking, hard work when it comes to the paper drives and the aluminum and copper. Shoot, we did so much magazines at the time. Michael, let's see what Michael wrote here. I'll put your comment down here. They replaced a electric pole by the house today, and they gave me all the scrap wire. Wow, that's fantastic. There used to be, when I was a little girl, my mother told me a story about the rag man that would go around to the neighborhoods, and they'd just say rags, rags, rags. And that was the thing back in the day. I am doing okay, Cindy. The test I had yesterday was a bone scan. Now I'm going to very in-depth radioactive scan. I had to stay at Mayo. They told me, oh, yeah, go shopping. We'll inject you with the radioactive stuff. And you can go, why don't you go to Costco, go to the mall, go shopping, come back in 3 hours. Well, I didn't. I just stayed and did the Kelly course and did a couple of videos and formulated the videos and tried to upload. I was having a heck of a time yesterday at Mayo for whatever reason. But I finally uploaded it at my house, yes. Finally uploaded it yesterday at the house. But I won't get the results until I see the physician's assistant on Friday. It's just, I don't know, I can't describe it. It's an unusual, kind of like a stabbing pain that I have above where I had the surgery on the back. I don't know. You just deal with it. You know what I mean? After what happened the last week, 10 days now, shoot. I can't go crying over stuff because worse things have happened, right? In life. So yeah, I just wait, get the results, wait, see what happens. So to the paper drive and the collecting of money and just stashed it in the bank. You had to do what you had to do. You ate a lot of potatoes, but I knew that from growing up with depression parents. We ate a lot of potatoes, ground beef, the stuff that we in this current healthy, ketogenic, low carb way of eating don't eat. I ate it as a means of sustenance. Potatoes went a long way. What was a bag of potatoes back in the day? A quarter. I mean, it was so cheap. So you took the potatoes and you would make all the potato dishes. It wasn't only just fried potatoes and onions and eggs for breakfast. They had something called kluskas, which in the Polish heritage is a potato dumpling. We ate that, and then we made a potato dumpling soup. We put the ground beef in there. You just did whatever you could to stretch it. And that's how back in the day I would work, save up the money for the down payment, ate a lot of potatoes, gained a lot of weight because potatoes, if you know what I mean. So it just behooves me nowadays, the amount of cans that are out in the garbage on the street, and just shoot, I go to Quick Trip, and right in the garbage there's an allocated spot. We all know about the recycling allocated spot for the canned goods, etc., or cans, empty cans, plastics. People just throw their cans in the garbage. If I knew, and I'm sure there are recycle places up here, they still do drives for the Boy Scouts and the fundraising people, the kids. So they still have that, but I do not go to the recycling. I have to take a sip of coffee. I don't go to the recycling places anymore. Maybe I should consider that. I don't know. But it just behooves me, the creative ways that are out there to try to make money just by getting cans and turning them in. You can make a lot of money, but people just have the handout constantly, gimme, gimme, gimme. And sometimes you just have to be resourceful and do things, which leads me to my next story. When this is marriage number 2 now, when I was forced into, he wasn't paying any child support, very, very, very little. He'd give money because that's all he could afford. The sad stories I could tell you. Yeah. So I had to be resourceful. So I went back to the cans. The paper was just too much with the kid at the time. And I decided to do the cans and start turning them in for money. And then came the internet, the World Wide Web. Now I cannot, due to legal contractual circumstances, tell you the companies I dealt with, but I purchased URLs, and very simple URLs. So let's say the name of my company was the Pen Company. So I purchased www.pen.com. That's fictitious. And then Pen Company came to me because I was listed on the registry as the one that owned the URL, the website. And the Pen Company came to me and they said, well, we want this URL. And how much are you willing to sell it to me for? Not that you're going to hold yourself holding their name hostage, but they didn't want to go into any litigation, nor did I. So you would settle at the right price that was amicable for both parties. Let's see what Cindy wrote here. Cindy, I lived those sad stories with my ex who did not pay child support. Yep, you got to do what you got to do. But of course, they said we can't afford anything. We're so destitute, but yet they're going on vacations with their girlfriends. Oh, yeah. Jerry After Dark. I could say some words, but I won't because people are going to watch this during the light. And if I say the words, I'd have to leave a disclaimer. Close your kitty's ears. I'm going to be saying naughty words. So that was another way that I earned money, supplemental money to take care of the kid. I think I told you guys about the nanny that we had with my son. At that time, I sent her back because she wasn't my slave. I wanted to take her away from that slave situation that she was under. And she wanted to go back home to her family and her kids, and her husband was deceased. She was just here for nefarious reasons, shall we say. And the person that brought her and her sister here, I hate to say this, but they're probably burning in hell. What they did to that poor woman, it's just pathetic. But I can't judge. I'm just having a hard time with that, the whole judging thing now. After listening to Erica Kirk's stories, that her speech is, I don't want to get too deep into it because I'll start crying. But Sunday, I didn't want it to be a big cry fest for me. I wanted to be a part of it. And I don't know about you guys and what you're experiencing or what denominations you are, but the people in our church, again, jam-packed, and talking to other people, just talking to people today in the break room. There's a vending machine guy that comes and he says, "Whoa, Jerry, I haven't seen you since before the world took a dive." I'm like, "Yeah, how's it going?" And we, of course, started talking about God, but a lot of people don't talk about God at work because, well, it's a factory. It's work. The only time they talk about God is when they use his name in vain, if you know what I mean. So we were kibitzing a little bit. He says, "Yeah, my church was just crazy busy." And he talked about how it was at my sister's church, how everybody would sit in the pews, but at the ends, and all the middles were always empty. And he was saying that not only were the ends busy, but people were starting to move to the middle. And it's kind of cool. I think it's just the sign of the times, but you can't make people. You have to go, I think. I mean, I love church. I really do. I love the church that I belong to, but I can't forcibly tell people to go to church. The Spirit moves people. And you don't bring it up at a meeting at work. We had a meeting at work today, and afterwards, my boss came and talked to me and asked me how my church was. I'm thinking, what? Never talked to me about stuff like that. Last week, he had talked to me and said, in passing, I had asked one of my coworkers, he was going this way towards the office, and I needed to use the restroom. So we were crossing paths, and I said, "Are you going that way? Could you drop this off for me?" "Oh, sure. Well, then the next day, the supervisor said to me, "Well, we really shouldn't be having people be our runners." I thought, incredible. So later that day, a circumstance came about where I had dropped something or where, "Oh, no, Jerry, I'll get it." I said, "That's okay, I'll get it. I don't want to burden you." Some people. I said this last week. It's a good thing I'm not in charge of salvation. Oh, hey, there's Karen. There is Karen. She says, "Hi, Jerry. I love the clips of your church service. It's very uplifting." Hello, Cindy. Hello, Karen. Late night with Jerry. I was just talking about buying my first house and saving up and eating all the cheap things. But those are all the cheap things that I grew up with, the potatoes and the cereal. I look back at some of the pictures that I have at my, in picture books, and I see the Kellogg cereal on the table, and I remember the balanced breakfast. Remember, you would have your bowl of cereals, your little orange juice, because you couldn't have a big orange juice. Nowadays, you go to a restaurant, what does a big orange juice cost? $8. No, for a large orange juice. And there's Michael. He's our high carb seafood diet here. But I think you're skinny, Michael. You're not in need of a low carb diet, but you feed the animals very well. I saw the video today with Emily. It's so cute. So cute. Little woodland creatures. Yeah, he wrote here, high, HIGH, high carb diet. Yep, I knew what you meant. Yes, our church is, as is many, according to, well, at least the sites that I go from, they're definitely experiencing a revival of sorts. Now, I listened to Megyn Kelly, and this is kind of weird. "I can't gain weight," Michael says. What? You have, I don't know. Well, I wish I didn't have that problem in the beginning. I ate a lot of potatoes and I gained a lot of weight, high carb stuff. So I wouldn't necessarily tell you to eat high carbs because that goes against what I believe in myself. But would you try eating maybe more meat and more fat? As in the fat from the animal, maybe the fat from your steak. Remember when I was feeding my dog Ladybug and you said, oh, give the dog some meat. She gets plenty. I did the half a pound or the pound of ground beef this morning for breakfast. She had breakfast. Jack fed her this morning her typical half a can of the dog food. And then I made her half of a pound, well, a whole pound for the two of us. She had half of a pound and I had half of a pound with 3 eggs in it. So I would say increase your fat and your calories, but it doesn't necessarily have to be high carbs either, though, Michael. It's just my opinion. Don't go the route that I did and have sugar and ice cream and chips or potatoes or all of that shenanigans. No, don't do that. Oh, cold coffee at night is not good. Let me throw it completely in my head. So our pastor was saying that how my church is doing the Y church this month. Remember last month it was the fasting, or every Monday we fasted. So now it's a Y church. And he said it's how do you put it? I'm paraphrasing now. He says it's God because they're planning a year in advance and come up with a calendar and different things to talk about in plenty of time. For example, I think I told you guys that I was talking at our church. I haven't properly signed up to belong yet. And the only reason is I don't want to belong by myself. Until Jack is ready to go back to church with me, I'm going to go to church and just go because the Spirit moves me. I love church. I love God. And I love this particular church. But I'm uncomfortable signing up as a married woman only by myself. I think you know what I mean. Here, Michael wrote here, I eat a lot of fatty meat and potatoes. Maybe you're exercising too much, Michael. Going out and feeding the woodland creatures out in nature. Do you do a lot of walking? I think you were talking about doing your step counts. Speaking of step counts, let's see what I did today. Bad news. I had primarily a sitting job, 4,221 steps today. I wasn't doing a lot of walking today at all. So back to our church. They just started this past Monday to doing a diet protocol in conjunction with scripture. And they asked for 30 volunteers at our church. So, of course, I signed up for it. I signed up right up until the last day when they had to make the decision about, are you going to come or not come? Well, with me being gone for all those months with the surgery, etc., I didn't feel comfortable asking my boss for any more time off to be able to participate in as a leader with this diet program at church. Let's call it a diet program, but it's all founded on biblical principles, what the Bible says about what we should eat, and scripture and whole foods, Garden of Eden. And you know where I'm going with that. So they just rolled that on Monday, but I work second shift. So that was the meeting starting at 5:30 yesterday that I couldn't make it. So I will be participating in the program, but not as a leader in the program. So it's kind of sad, but it is what it is. I'll be retiring next year. Michael says it was a slow day and you only had 5,581 steps. Yeah, it sounds slow. It sounds like my days. Some days I'm doing a lot of walking. It's quite a haul between one area that I work in, making valves, and then going to the restroom. That's like traveling for a block just to go to the bathroom. So that's a lot of walking back and forth and going between my machine and going to what they call a comparator, putting my part on there and spinning it around, making sure it's within spec for the part that it's going into. So even though it's, 5 steps from where I'm producing the valve to the comparator to measure it, those add up when you're doing 1,000 pieces, et cetera, et cetera. So it just depends. Sometimes you do 400 in a batch. Well, then you're not walking 400 times back and forth, but the exercise is good. But today it was to the point of making 550 pieces sitting stationary at this one particular machine where I had to literally get up and I was stiff. So I sit and I stand as needed periodically. So we will find out on Friday from the doctor, physician's assistant, what's going on inside the old bones here. Now, I know a lot of you are probably just like me. You guys don't take calcium. I remember telling my sister about a month ago, I said, stop taking the calcium, because calcium, in my opinion, this is not a medical advice channel. I'm just giving you my opinion of what I read, listen, learn, podcast, my doctor, Mayo Clinic, etc. That calcium moves where calcium wants to. So calcium may move into the arteries and it may not necessarily move into the bones. So that's why I take D3 and K2 combined, but it has to be in oil. And the capsule that I take is in coconut oil, as a matter of fact, K2 and D3. How many more hours are you needing? I have not checked, Michael. I haven't checked. I have been so engrossed in my studies. Now, tomorrow, technically, is the last day of class for the coaching that I'm doing. But I still have homework that needs to be done. And I jam as much homework as I possibly can. But tomorrow at work, we're having what they call ethics training. And it's during the time that I normally listen with my earbuds at work to my class. So from 2 to 4, I can only listen to the class, because from 4 until 5 at work is this ethics training. Now, you'd think that people like us, people like me, that have been there for 15 years, that I could maybe forego this ethics training. No, I have to do it just like the person that was just hired 3 weeks ago, because we all have to be ethical. Duh. It's one thing if somebody says to me in a joking manner, because you can't be all stodgy all during the day. If somebody says, come on, Jerry, move. If I say, oh, ow, I'm just so stiff. Come on, Jerry, you old woman. Let's go to lunch. I'll be like, I can't go. Just go ahead of me. I'm coming. That's in a joking manner. But I can see where people would be like, oh, how dare they, said old person, and make mountains out of molehills. Some people's children. I don't know. I am very happy that the interest rates, though, are starting to come down for people. I just wish that they would go down. I mean, you can't have a sudden drop in the interest rates. But this Fed guy, I don't know. I'm not happy with him. He just needs to go. It's to the point of a two-person household has to have an income of $125,000 to buy an average starter home these days. $125,000 in salary between two people. That's a lot of scrimping and saving. I know that I've reined in my expenses with what I purchase because I eat pretty much the same thing on repeat all the time. Not complaining. I love it. I don't mind eating ground beef and eggs. I'm glad that the egg prices have gone down. Now, I forgot this part. I had wrote down one of the topics I was going to discuss was let the truth be known. Remember when I said I finally came off of my 212 and I was down to 209? Well, I'm blaming it on the events of the last 7 to 10 days, 11, 12 days, if you know what I mean. I have not resorted to eating cakes or the croissants that I make for Jack or candy bars. None of that stuff. But I have dipped into the heavy whipping cream and I purchased it and I mixed the heavy whipping cream with the Equip, a half of a cup, and it's just delicious. And it put on the weight, and I'm not a calories in, calories out person, but I have been consuming more dairy, hence more inflammation. And the cheese, the aged cheese that I turn into in the microwave, I turn them into crisps. Love them, but I shouldn't be eating a pound of cheese every 2 days as crisps and then dipping them in sour cream or making my own a homemade ranch dip. But I did it. So ever since January 11th of this year, I've said that I've been a strict carnivore, my personal choice, meaning I haven't cheated. I haven't gone to Culver's to eat an ice cream. Sunday, as you saw from the video, I did the grocery shopping for Jack. His Oscar Mayer beef bologna at Festival Foods. That's almost $10 a pound. Yikes. But there's not a lot of beef bologna that's out there. He likes it. I also picked them up hard rolls from the bakery store. When we lived in Milwaukee, hard rolls, hot ham and hard rolls were a thing in Milwaukee. And they were the crusty hard rolls, so I buy the hard rolls at the store. And because they're made earlier that day, then I bring them home. They're a little soft. I put them in the air fryer, crisp them up for 2 or so minutes. Now they're back to hard rolls. Slice them when they're still crunchy. Slather the butter on there, the cheese, American cheese from Sargento, the real American cheese. And he likes the ham very, very thin. So I got half a pound of ham and 2 hard rolls to make that. And he'll eat that with his cheese potato chips. And then afterwards, there's a Culver's right there. But there was a time that I would go to Culver's every month and shop. And then as my drive home treat, I would get 2 scoops of whatever flavor, whatever it was, and drive home with that. And I haven't done any of that since January 11th. So I'd like to tell people, yes, I've been doing carnivore for the last 3 years, but I was a carnivore cheat and a scammer because I would do the ice cream, similar to when I tried quitting smoking, and then I would smoke on the side. Oh yeah, I quit smoking. I'd be smoking down in the basement. Jack's upstairs. I'm puffing away, doing it on the sly. You know what I mean? So I haven't, since January 11th, done any of that stuff. So I'm not going to say that because I backslid and ate Greek yogurt or heavy whipping cream, that was a bad thing. I didn't have any real sugar. I didn't have any chocolate. I didn't have any bread products. None of that. But I've had cheese and heavy whipping cream. And that really led to the inflammation. Michael wrote here, anything processed is bad for you. Absolutely. I have bought the butcher box sausages, the little sausage patties. Technically, that's a processed product. I got it when it was on sale. I don't know. I think the bag was, maybe I didn't. I'll tell you guys what my secret is. I belong to Butcher Box, and Butcher Box sends out weekly updates and weekly sales. So, for example, they could do a 10-pack, 10 pounds of the grass-fed beef as a deal for $4 for a pound. Well, I'll sign up for getting 22-pound packets because they're together, the 2 pounds. I'll sign up for that like I did last month, and I completely forgot to adjust it according to my available space in my freezer. So by the time it came here, thank God they had so much of their frozen, a dry ice in there. It was frozen rock hard solid the next morning. But I jammed our freezers completely downstairs, upstairs, etc. I have not looked at the deals because I'm delaying my meat until, what did I do? October, November. I have that much that I need to go through. So I'm not going to go all crazy. That's for sure. Josephine wrote 100% Michael. That's true. The process, not cool. Oh, that's fine. Thank you, Cindy. Cindy says the card is in the mail. It's quite all right. You, my dear, are a busy lady too, so it's most appreciated. Thank you very much for the sentiment. I appreciate it. I know I had done the video about what do you get somebody that's 76 years old that has everything. I mean, what did I say? How many cars do we have here? 8 cars and vehicles and RV and what have you. And 2 people that drive. It's a little bit much. And the motorcycle. So I got him the chrome cologne and 2 gallons of milk. Oh, and then I did get him some frozen pizzas from Festival. That's in the upstairs freezer here. He likes those little ones. I showed you in the video. And then I picked up the 4 packs of Culver's. Did you know, speaking of Culver's, I found this out on Sunday when I went. If you ask for a senior discount, because I always do, it's 5% discount, which in Wisconsin, that means it's the sales taxes comes off the top 5%. That's what that is. But if you are a veteran, you get 10% discount at Culver's. So don't be ashamed to ask. I know I'm not ashamed to ask. Dairy Queen doesn't do that. They used to do it here in Bloomberg, but they don't do that anymore. Cindy says, you're welcome. Yes, you are the kindest, Cindy. You're just a gem. You and Amy are just a gem. Amy and her talent, and you and just very loving and giving and always willing to help. And I appreciate everything. I appreciate our cyber friendship. I just can't wait for the day we actually go to physically meet each other. Okay, Cindy, yes, we go to Culver's every Thursday night after bowling. Do you get the senior discount? 2, or do you ask for a senior discount, I should say. Yeah, I'm not ashamed. Yes, she is, Karen. Cindy is the bestest. The bestest. I know they have Culver's down in Chicago. My brother-in-law lives in Wheeling. And, well, of course, there's Superdog on Milwaukee and Devon, and then they have one in Wheeling, and that's where my brother-in-law lives, a mile away from Superdog. Cindy. Yes, she says. Yes, I do. I'm old. LOL. I don't know when Culver started it. I want to say it was 50 years old. Well, no. Dairy Queen, it was 50, and then they stopped doing it at Dairy Queen. But as we all know, Dairy Queen isn't ice cream. Dairy Queen is oil mixed with stuff that makes it taste like ice cream, but it's not. Culver's, on the other hand, has the real cream, the vanilla, etc. I'm not making excuses, and I don't want to have it, but I'd rather Jack have the Culver's than the Dairy Queen, less seed oils. But yeah, I remember eating the Dairy Queen, and it would leave that taste on the roof of your mouth. Blah, 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 blah. Ooh, your brother lives in Wheeling too. Wow. My brother-in-law lives on Center Drive. That's all I know. 55 Center. That's his address. But I can't tell you what the crossroad is that Superdog is. I'm sure you've been to Superdog, Karen. What's your favorite hot dog place, Karen, in Chicago? Let's talk hot dog place and let's talk pizza place. And do you deep dish or do you the super thin crust Chicago pizza? Because Jack likes the super thin crust. But I have ordered the deep dish Geno's through the internet, had it mailed up here for us and made it before. But you can only have a piece or two. It's that filling with all the crust and what have you. Cindy says that we get either the chicken cashew salad, I used to get that too, or the butter bacon double burger, no bun. Of course, yes. Yes, indeed. I wish they would have, I don't know, naked tenders, the tenders without the breading on there. Oh, Portillo's, of course. Yes, Portillo's. Back in the day, Barnaby's. Now, I don't know. Jack's sleeping, so maybe he would know about that. But yes, Portillo's actually came to Milwaukee or Brookfield at the time. They have one location in Wisconsin for Portillo's. And Cindy says, yum, deep dish. I make deep, well, I know we all do, the meat crust and the deep dish with the cheese and more meat and the toppings. Did you guys see that video that I did yesterday with the dehydrated green peppers at Costco? I don't know if I would buy that if I was even keto because of the seed oils that they had. Let's see. Michael wrote, Karen, do you need help with hours? Karen, do you need help with viewing hours? Michael watches a lot of my videos and he runs them on and plays them in the background. And I appreciate the help that you've done for me, Michael, but I have to go back and look at. Let's see. I could probably do that right now. I don't want too much dead air. I can look in the YouTube studios and see what my hours are thus far. Analytics, earnings. This is faster than I thought. Okay. I will show you what my hours are right now, Michael. obviously, I'm not into the shorts because they want 3 million of them, and I only have 3.6 thousand public shorts views. So right now, in the last 365 days, I have 2,121 hours for the first tier of monetization. If you can see that, maybe. Here we go. So yeah, I still have a long way to go. But I'm doing the grind. I'm showing up and I'm doing these lives, and hopefully more people will see them, especially after I'm done filming them. Let's see. Karen wrote here, Giordano's deep dish spinach. Ooh, that sounds delicious. Ooh, yum, yum. Cindy, don't forget to go to my live stream video from last Wednesday to enter my giveaways, which are going to be drawn live tomorrow night. Okay. Thank you very much for the reminder. I will do that as I head up to bed. So thank you very much. So everybody go there. Cindy, you're an administrator. Link that video, please, because you can do that here. I can't. I don't know how to do it. Link that, please, to here and have people go on there and enter. Please, Cindy, thank you very much. And Michael wrote here, you're going to be about 5 days behind. Is that with all of the videos, Michael? Or is it because I'm doing the lives, though? That analytics, I've yet to learn that. Like I said, baby steps. I'm just getting to, look at this straggler here. I'm just getting through this kilt class and studying all this medical stuff. Okay, Karen wrote here, yes, Michael, our watch hours dropped since we haven't put out anything new recently. We've been very busy. I adopted another dog too. Karen, you're so good. How many dogs do you have now, Karen? Yeah, doing your family work, of course, at the store, the toy store. Mom, taking care of mom. Michael said, it will be an easy run. Low carb spin. Many thanks. Yes, we definitely appreciate Michael and viewing our videos, and everybody for that matter. Everybody that's here, I appreciate. When they're on my lives with me, when I walk with people will watch and listen on earbuds. Cindy said, type in hail razors in the comments. Hail as in the snow, hail, rocks, snow, hard snow. There we go. Cindy put it down here, everybody. This is it. This is the URL. So we can click on there. And can I click on here on mine though, Cindy? Do I click on here? No, I can't click on there. Maybe it's because I'm the host, but I will go on there and see and do hail razors. Oh, this is for the egg thing, right? That cool, cute little egg thing. Yeah, I love it. If not subbed, please do so while you're there. Michael, have you subbed to Cindy's channel? I'll bet you have. I bet you've already done that. So do any of you and your children, are any of them having purchasing or about in the midst of purchasing a new house and having to contend with the rules and the regulations and coming up with down payments right now? I know from the people that I listen to, just in general conversations, they say that they want to be able to buy a house, but the houses here, the people that want to buy houses, they'll say they have a certain, we can only buy a house for 100, 125,000. Well, using the word, I apologize. Those are dumps. Those are houses that need major, major, major work. It's not just slap on a coat of paint and get some Lysol out. It's water damage, and they've left the house, and yeah, bad news houses. But here they are driving from Timbuktu to Timbuktu. I know you know where Chippewa Falls is, Karen, but we're talking people that travel from Chippewa Falls to Ladysmith, and that's a good hour. So realtors, when we're showing houses, you see that back there? That's the bedroom. Jack's got the TV going in. That's where you're seeing the flashing back there. Back over here. Yeah, everybody wants to drive around and look to get the good deals, but you have to buy a house right now. See, our house, when we purchased our house, what did we pay for it? $350 for it now. And the value now is $750,000. But that's because everything went up. Just crazy. You throw a house on any lake up here, it's big, high dollars. Look at Lake Geneva in Wisconsin, just above the Illinois border. Those houses are insanely high. I've sold condos that you have to see with binoculars to see Lake Geneva. But people are scooping them up. They're one room with a very small galley kitchen and a bedroom, and that's it. And that one sold, we've been up here 17 years, 24 years ago, for $175,000. Yeah, it was an old hotel converted. And because it's seasonal views, meaning when the leaves are gone and it's wintertime, you can see Lake Geneva, but they just love it. Those Illinois people are coming up here and, like the Griggs boys say, coming up here, raping our women and stealing our land up in Wisconsin. I don't really have any desire to go to Chicago. Back in the day when my friends would go, we'd do the Magnificent Mile and all the shopping and all the good stuff. I would have done the Karen and Kelly meetup that they did. I know, Karen, you went to that with your sister. I would have liked to have gone, but that was too soon after my surgery. And right now I can barely make it from my house to the sister's house. 2 times I have to stop. So yeah, it gets to be a bit much. Later on in the week, it's going to be, close your ears if you're listening to it during normal business hours, daylight hours. So it'll be some stuff we'll be talking about. I think Thursday it'll be titillating, shall we say. So you're going to have to tune in. I have less than a minute more to go right now. Let's see what Josephine says here. Josephine says, that was nice of the guy. First time, must be a new guy. He's cleaning out the gutters. Bit late, just had a storm. Speaking of gutters, Jack was talking to somebody to get us gutter guards by the garage. We don't have it at the house. The pitch in our house is such that things just go down. And if you have gutters, especially in the North Woods, well, in winter in Wisconsin, you run the risk of having ice damming. The gutters get full of ice. The leaves that aren't cleaned out properly get dammed, and it does damage to the roof. So that's a huge problem. Not a wise thing to put gutters on a house in the middle of a forest. Not bright. Okay, Michael says, I have your channel running now. Yay! Woo! Show it, show it. Well, thank you all for coming. I appreciate it. It's been 1 hour. If anybody wants to, feel free to replay my videos by all means. I still have 800 plus hours to catch up to the first part of monetization. So on your way out, thumbs up, like, make a comment. I appreciate it. Forward it on to somebody. Who knows? The stories are going to be more and more and more, and I'm becoming to be a little more familiar talking as opposed to just going, um, um, and now I'm really familiar doing the StreamYard thanks to Cindy. Thank you. Karen says, thank you to Michael's Adventures. And Josephine is saying, beautiful. Enjoy your beautiful night and day all. With that being said, thank you all. Take care. God be with you. Angels on your pillow as you sleep. Keep you safe. Keep you in God's care. And we will see you tomorrow. Toodles for now.